Today, I have on Angelique, the director of Kitsa Creative, a marketing clarity studio that helps business owners turn brand clarity into AI powered leverage. I'm so excited for this conversation. Welcome, Angelique.
Thank you, Jess. I'm really excited to be here.
Amazing. So, I'd love to know a bit about you, particularly what I guess got you into this, starting this business and going on this journey, specifically around, I guess, what shaped your business into going down the AI path.
Yep, great question. So I was working for somebody else, a multinational beauty retailer. I was 5 months into the role. It was quite a big role. I was heading a team of 8, supporting the founders and the head of marketing, but I was made redundant, sadly, as I was 5 months pregnant at the time. And I pretty much was like, having a bit of a pity party and a real massive blow to my ego, as I'd never been made redundant before. But it just so happened that my partner bought a business the same day that I was made redundant. So he kind of picked me up off the ground and said, let's not get upset. Let's, turn lemons into lemonade. And he's like, we're going to set up a business and you have enough clout that I can contract to you and help you support my business with marketing. So we got to work
Oh,
straight away. Set up Kitsa Creative. Kitsa Creative initially was just going to be a marketing solutions specialty business where I was going to help business owners with their marketing. And I
mm,
helped Dave for a period of time, had our baby, postpartum, did the works. And then eventually he was having clients that he was servicing that were like, hey, can I talk to your partner about helping me with my business? Because they had no idea. They were amazing at what they were doing in
mm.
terms of servicing their clients, but they weren't marketers. So Dave was like, have a chat with these clients. Here are some initial leads. And when I was in front of them, I noticed a similar pattern. They were all using AI because AI, particularly tools like ChatGPT, were in the mainstream 2 years ago. This was July 2024, and we were all using them very reactively, myself included. We didn't really understand how to properly use the tools. So I was getting behind some initial thought leaders in the space around priming your AI tools, not prompting
Mm.
them. And when I started integrating it into what I was doing personally for Kitsa Creative, clients were hearing about it because I was talking to them and they were like, can you train me on how to do it for my business? So I saw little bit of an opportunity, and that is where my first iteration of the AI brand blueprint was born, a 3-hour focus session where I train clients how to train the tool to their business to help the tool work a bit harder for them and use it in a more strategic, nuanced way.
Yeah, I do resonate with that because I was one of those people a couple of years ago, and I know so many people in my space who probably are still the same, just using it reactively because they just don't have any other information. So I think what you're doing is just so important.
Yeah, look, I mean, I can't blame anyone for this because, we need to give ourselves some grace. These tools are still in the infancy. ChatGPT launched in October or November 2022, and it's
Mhm.
2026 now. So they're evolving at an absolute rapid rate. We're all learning as we go. So you can't blame anybody for not understanding how to properly use them. There is a better way to use them, though, than just simply opening up a prompt box and chatting to it. You actually have to train it to your business, give it a knowledge base, give it a structural framework, which I'm sure we're going to talk about very soon. But that's what I do with my clients. And I find that once you have spent the time training the tool specifically to who you are, what you do, who you help, why you help, and how you wish to sound, the tool can become your marketing co-pilot or your productivity partner, because it knows everything about you and it has the foundations already laid out the one time.
Yes, it's only as good as you train it, right? Because
Absolutely.
otherwise it's just this generic dribble, that I just see everywhere.
That's right. And, a lot of people are using AI currently at that level 1, level 2 use, where they're treating it as like an excellent task executor or a very, 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 smart search engine, basically a level up from Google. They're not
Mm.
actually treating it as a trained employee in their business where you have given them a proper induction into all of those steps that I talked about before and then sent them out to represent your business. I always ask my clients this question: would you let an untrained person represent your business? And 10 out of 10 times they say no. And then I follow it up with, well, then why are you doing that with AI?
Yeah, yeah. I think people, they almost, I think, get a little bit impatient or a bit excited, and they just, it's like, I just want the result now. And I think that's a real theme in our society. We just want it now. And so it's like, already so dysregulated and I'm in such fight flight. I need to get this content done. I need it now. And so they feel like I don't have the time to invest that time to do the induction and do the training of this virtual, what do you call it, AI employee or whatever.
No, you're bang on. I force people how to really double down on the what and the why, not just jump into the how, because we're too busy in let's just get into the how. No, 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 no. Let's go back a few steps. Let's put our strategist hat on and really understand what this tool needs to do in order to perform at its best. And that's
Mm,
always training it to your brand, training it to your offers, giving it the psychographic detail of your ideal client. And I'm not just talking about, I help women in business who between ages 30 to 50, and they earn this much and they live here. No, no, no. What are their pain points? What are their frustrations? What's keeping them up at night? What is their dream state goal? And then how do we then train AI to have this information and then create tailored messaging that stops these clients in their tracks and position you as a solution?
yeah, how I like to say that is it's like, how are they thinking, feeling, and acting? Because the old
100%.
way and how I first learnt about ideal client was I got a worksheet exactly like you just said. I think it said things like, oh, what cafes do they like to go to? Who gives a shit? Like,
Yeah,
what's in their head? What's keeping them up at night? Like,
that's
how are
right.
they feeling? Are they anxious?
100%. And, um, we need to get into their internal world.
Mm,
So once we have that level of detail, it's amazing what AI is capable of doing for you. That's far beyond anything that you could iterate just by saying, hey, write me a post to, a woman
mm,
in a service based business, as opposed to write me a post that talks to these three pain points, these three frustrations, make her feel seen. And it'll do it
make
for you because
oh,
it has the foundation.
yeah, yeah. I love that because it's like when people feel seen, they're like, she gets me. She is the one.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm. So tell me, what is the framework you use?
Basically, my motto is build like a MILF. And I don't want
Mm,
people to think of Stifler's mom from American Pie. In my world, a MILF stands for a mindful, intentional, leveraged founder. So
mm,
that means being mindful about the tools that you use, using them with intention. Once you've used them with intention, gain leverage from them. And our biggest leverage is our time, and then become the formidable founder that you were destined to be. I think this is what propels me forward every single time I do something. I'm a mum of three. I run a business. My partner runs a business. Efficiency is just not optional in my world. So I'm always cognizant of channeling that MILF energy. And that is what I strive to do for my clients, to turn them into MILFs as well.
yeah, I think that unless you have that intention, like you said, and you have the understanding and the tools of what to do, how to use it with the training, it is, and this I'm speaking from previous experience, I know how easy it is to get overwhelmed. And then what happens is when we get overwhelmed, we shut down, we avoid, we're like, nah, too hard basket. And then we're not moving forward, right? We're not leveraging our time. In fact, what we've done is we just wasted a whole amount of time trying to get a result and then being like, oh, this is just too much.
Exactly. And on the other side of the coin, there are then those people who go, I'm just going to post for the sake of it. I'm just going to just get into chat, get chat to pump out a
Yep.
couple of posts. I'll do all the work. I'll post it. And then crickets, because you've likely
Exactly.
confused your audience, or you've just copied and pasted something directly out of AI where it's not trained to your voice. It's not trained to your clients. It's not trained to your offers. So it just guesses, because these tools, they're everything to everyone. unless you train it. So it has a generalization of your industry. And
Mm,
like I said, it just fills the gaps. Now, if you are putting just anything out there, you are potentially confusing your clients. And I always say that a confused mind does not buy. So you have to be very clear about your positioning, your offers, and you have
mm,
to repeat all the time. Even though to you, you're like, oh, like everyone is probably so sick of me saying this. That's actually when your ideal clients get what you do. My rule of thumb is that repetition equals recognition equals revenue. So don't
mm.
stop. Double down
Good.
on what your content pillars are. Keep going. That's when you'll get the results.
Yeah, I love that. It's really interesting because I literally mentioned this on my stories yesterday, just naturally off the back of my Legacy Women community call, because we were talking about authenticity and really being an embodied leader. And part of that is being authentic, right? And I was reflecting on it after and how much cookie cutter stuff there is in regards to the copy being used. And it's just so obvious. And so while you were talking, what I was thinking is what it's actually doing is it's just diluting your authority. That's what it's
Totally.
doing. And like, like I said earlier, you might feel this pressure to be putting content out there. But if you're just putting this drivel, you know what I mean? Like it's it's probably damaging your brand rather than helping you get
Absolutely.
ahead.
Oh my God, Jess, this is so resonant with me. And this
Mm,
is what I teach my clients as well. Because again, if you're just using AI reactively, you don't actually realize how that erodes your credibility because you
mm,
haven't trained it to your voice. You haven't trained it to your values. These are the markers of trust, right? By
yeah.
having a point of differentiation and constantly promoting this on your socials, in your tone of voice, but really AI is doing all the work in the background, that is how people connect with you. That is what sets you apart from all the
Mm,
competitors out there. 80% of business owners are using AI in their business right now. However, there is a real skepticism towards AI. I hear it every day, and we don't want people to know that we are using AI, even though we kind of are.
yeah.
So, what is the sweet spot? And the sweet spot is literally spending the time to build a brand brain, install it into your AI tool of choice. At the moment, there's a lot of noise around Claude, and I must admit, I've been playing in Claude and cheating on ChatGPT, which was my favorite tool up until this
Okay.
point. But whatever your tool is, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot,
Mm.
they all have the capacity to house a brand brain or a knowledge base.
So I've got a question on that one. Once someone knows how to train the AI, let's just use ChatGTP for example. I know that it holds more memory when you pay for the premium. Can you just train it in the standard chat? Or do you recommend, or is it essential to make a custom GPT?
I would 100% recommend going the paid. The paid account is 20 USD a month. Now, I appreciate there's a cost of living crisis at the moment. People are tightening their belts, but honestly, why wouldn't you invest in a tool that's actually going to amplify your business and going to
Yeah.
eventually save you time and lighten the load, especially if
Well,
you spend the time training it? What I do with my clients is I always say, get a paid account. It's quite affordable in the grand scheme of things. We spend the 3 hours together. We build the brand brain. I then show them how to update their custom instructions and create projects, which are basically a
mm,
fancy term for folders. And
yeah.
inside the folder, I then create a default folder only memory. So it means that nothing outside of the folder or project bleeds into said project. You can then create a brain's trust inside that project. So you can install the brand brain that I've made inside of that project, and you can set instructions that say, hey, this is the only source of truth for everything that we do. Now, what that means is ChatGPT is not referring to old memories from something that happened 6 months ago. Like businesses evolve, right? So a
Right.
brand
That
brain,
makes so much sense.
yeah, a brand brain has to live in the now or where the business is heading. Otherwise, it's pulling from old memories, it's getting muddled. You're then getting frustrated and going, hey, no, 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 we've moved on from that now. By having the brand brain, you're literally setting the tone for where you're at and where you're going.
Yes, and I think that's kind of what I was referring to in regards to getting frustrated and like wasting your time and then people potentially just getting so frustrated that, they give up. It's like either that or they just put out this drivel. because they're like,
Absolutely.
got to get something out there.
That's
So,
right.
okay, so you're saying it's this strategy with just using the main one and having the projects rather than doing a custom GPT. Is that right?
No, you don't have to build a custom GPT.
Okay.
This is something that's a bit controversial. It's probably going to get me cancelled amongst my peers.
But we love that because that's how you stand out, right?
Well, yeah, of
Sharing
course.
sharing controversial opinions.
That's right. Attention is a form of currency in 2026. But, I see too many business owners buying solutions. So they buy custom made, pre made GPTs that a
I've done it.
marketer or an AI specialist has done for them. But when
Mhm.
that breaks, what do? Who do you call?
Yep.
The work's been done. You're not going to call the person that did it and say, hey, can you fix it for me? They've already moved on.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm so passionate about being a bit manual with AI and learning how to do it yourself. Build the brain's trust first yourself because no one gives a shit about your business more than you. You bring the heart and soul. And there are
Mhm.
experts like me out there that can give you a structure that will hold you to task, build the brand brain, install it inside the back end of ChatGPT so that it knows you. And
Yeah.
you can then learn how to build GPTs yourself.
I
That's a whole other separate thing. But yeah, I think it's just
mm,
all about coming back to basics and understanding that first because it is going to save you time, et
yeah.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera, down the line.
Yeah, I really love that because it's such an empowering thing once it's handed over, once you've done that initial work with you, to be like, you know what, I actually know what to do versus like me in the past paying, I don't even know how much. I think I paid like $800 for like 3 custom GPTs. It was like,
Yep.
one's your messaging person,
Yep.
one's your launch strategist. And I went in there, I just kinda got overwhelmed, and then I just left it. I've never used it again. Do you know what I
There you
mean?
go.
So
Yep. Point,
mm,
point taken.
yeah,
This is what I see all the time. It becomes a full circle moment. People come to me after they've gone to this person, that person, and they've gone, here's my chat GPT, here's my dashboard. I'm looking at it going, this looks like a dog's breakfast. And they're like, oh, I've already invested in someone's built this for me. And then I go into the back end and I'm like, and they're like, oh, but this was done like a year ago, but their business has changed now. So then what
yes.
do? They don't know how to go and edit it in the back end. Yeah, I do find building a brand brain is more manual, but it is transferable because you can now export your data from ChatGPT into Claude.
Oh, okay.
You can do all of that. In
Mm,
fact, I've just done it. It took me a day, but I spent the time doing it all. And now Claude is just executing like another employee in my business. An example of how I'm using Claude, I trained it obviously to my brand. And because I have a brand brain, I have documents, I have a knowledge base
mhm,
already set. I exported it from ChatGPT to Claude. Claude had all the context. I then created a skill, which is a preset workflow where Claude now knows my branding. So it has my colors, my
yeah,
preferred fonts, my brand voice, all of that. I
yeah,
then created another skill, which was how to create the ideal SOP assessment document. And
mm,
then because I have everything connected in the back end, I've connected my Google Calendar, my Google Drive, my Canva,
mm,
etc. And I said to Claude in Cowork, which is another dashboard inside of Claude, I said, "Hey, here are all the videos that I've created." Well, actually, we'll go a step ahead. Built the structure with Claude. I'm like, this is how I want my online course to be. This is the structure. These are the lessons. Here are the videos. So go to this folder in my Google Drive. This is the name of the folder. All of my lessons are in there, filmed. Look at the transcripts that Gemini has created. Because Gemini has its own AI agent inside.
mm,
Review the transcripts, then create the SOPs and put them into a separate document, as per the skill that we iterated. It did it in half
mm.
an hour. It built all it did it
Wow.
all for me. I just had to go in, check it, make sure it was all okay. I had no notes. I was like, this would have taken me, my God, hours because I would have
Wow.
in the past gone, build the structure, then had to copy and paste it into a Google Doc, then send it to my VA in the Philippines and say, Ali, can you please, design this for me? And then, no, it did it all for me. It was unbelievable.
And
So it designed the actual SOP. Like it actually put it into a Google Doc in my colors, structured it beautifully, formatted it
Mm.
beautifully, then
Wow.
created a folder in my Google Drive and saved it all in there, itemized, like in a numbered order, so
Wow.
easy for us to find. And then I haven't figured out, I don't think there is a Go High Level connector. That's where my course is going to be.
Mm.
But I was going to get it to then put it in the course for me. So we had to manually do that
Oh,
part, but
yeah.
everything else saved us so much time. We smashed it out last night.
Yeah, that's insane. So
It is.
that's what we call it acting as an AI agent, is that right?
Yes. So Claude has three functions. It's got the normal dashboard, then it's got
Mm.
the co-work dashboard, and then it's got the code dashboard. Now, you can only access this if you download Claude to your desktop. You can't do it in the cloud, in the, the web browser
Mhm.
version. I don't believe. So you go into co-work mode and you set up skills beforehand, and then you connect the skills in co-work, and then while you're doing something else, it's actually in your computer live doing everything. And then once it's done, it goes, "Hey, Angelique, I'm done. Go check it out." And then you literally go into your Google Drive and it's all there.
So
Mind blowing
can
stuff.
yeah, that's incredible. So can you give me, or I should say our audience, an example of a skill or even a couple of examples?
I think a really good skill that everyone could start with is by training Claude to your brand guidelines. So giving it a brand guidelines framework. So your colors, your type
Got
fonts,
you.
brand voice.
Okay, yeah, I'm just getting my head around what you mean by skill. So, for example, one skill would just be the branding.
That's
One
right.
would be your, say, well, tone of voice could maybe come under branding.
So you could make a skill, first of all, for your branding, right?
Yeah.
Then you could make a skill to integrate the branding with creating presentation decks. So let's say you're somebody that's constantly creating presentations and you're going into Canva and you're building it all manually yourself. You can create the skill for the branding first, then create a special skill to then talk to like you could have, yeah, branding skill, then create a skill for PowerPoint presentations or Canva presentations. And then the two skills talk to each other and then iterate. And then
Wow.
you go into your Canva, because Canva's connected, you then can go into your Canva account and it will be there.
Hmm. And
If
like
this were
in
a visual
how,
platform, I'd actually show you an example. So I'm sorry,
yeah,
everybody has to like just visualize this for now, but
yeah.
it's just gotten me so excited for what Claude's capable of. And I feel like Claude and ChatGPT will be fighting to the death. ChatGPT will 100% launch
Mhm.
something soon that will outpace Claude, and then Claude will come back. Like that's just sort of where
Yeah.
we're at the moment.
So tell me, what's the current thing taking you over to Claude versus ChatGTP?
So ChatGPT lately I've found has been a bit limiting. I sometimes don't love, and this is probably because I haven't trained it this way. I don't like how ChatGPT is just all it just fluffs around with explanations. Claude is very thoughtful, analytical, gets to the point a lot
Okay.
faster. Now, some people don't appreciate that.
Mhm.
ChatGPT is way more conversational. It's more creative, but it is more fluffy. So
Mhm.
it's a preference which one you want to work with. And I do believe sometimes it's good just to just try different things. Like I've been using ChatGPT exclusively now for years since 2022.
Yeah.
And I actually like Claude's interface. I think it's prettier and it's nicer. But that's not why.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just think at the moment I'm just enjoying having a play. And, as an AI marketing strategist, I have to be ahead of the curve and have my finger on the pulse with these tools so that I can then offer a better service to my clients and give them really strong recommendations.
Yeah, cool. Okay. And so your service, does that also cover like the image and like video generation or not so much?
So this is another thing that I'm not a big fan of. I love AI for strategy, for analysis, for structure, and for doing some implementation. I'm not a fan of AI for video or picture creation. The only AI tool that I would recommend for those people that want to do that is Gemini, also Nano Banana, which is Gemini's offering
Yeah.
for image and video.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Claude, they're no good and it looks like AI. There's a real
Yeah.
skepticism towards AI. We talked about this and people want to buy into people. Founder
Yeah.
led content is very hot right now. It keeps us grounded and human and connected.
Mhm.
I've never personally put AI generated images on my Instagram. I certainly never get behind those. Create a caricature that
Mm.
tells the story based on what you know about me and then popping it onto my I hate all that stuff.
Uh,
No offense if you like it, but not my vibe at all. I would much prefer to put a grainy photo on my Instagram from my iPhone onto my Instagram
yeah, I
than
love
something
that.
curated and perfect. Nah.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I mean, I'll be honest, I have got on the trend a couple of times. You know, at Christmas time, everyone was doing the one with the lollipop. Like, it's just
Yes.
a bit of fun, right? But
Yes.
overall, I'm all about, the authenticity. Like, people want to see the real, people want to see what I've noticed about AI imagery is, and I said this to my husband, you can't see any lines. It's like too polished, right?
That's
And
right.
if anything, that actually adds into our long term society's insecurities. We
Yeah.
don't want like,
Nah.
we've got enough pressures. Like, people want to see real, they want to hear real, they want your story, they want to know your quirks. And that includes seeing your lines and, all the things, the behind the scenes, not these bloody perfectly polished. Because once again,
100%.
just like the copy, you look and sound like everyone else.
Absolutely. That sea of sameness has got to go. This is why training your tools to your business, to your why, to your mission, your vision, your values, the perception of how you want people to see you, that is going to set you apart now and beyond. And I just agree with you completely. I'm sick of seeing the same posts, the same perfectly curated, carousels, the copy that's curated. I do think that there is going to be a shift very soon and it's going to become so coveted, having everything
Mhm.
kind of homegrown, homemade, a mistake. People are going to find those
Agreed.
human touches really comforting
Yes.
and familial, but I'm a big believer in AI structuring your thoughts because we have a lot of noise up here, a lot of noise. Me in particular, I'm
Mhm.
constantly juggling multiple balls, as I know you are too, being a mum in business. Um,
Mhm.
so, how do I give my AI a second brain um, that takes away all of that overwhelm and keeps me structured and focused and creating content that's aligned to my goals and that helps my
Mhm.
ideal clients in the best possible way?
I love that. Could you share a bit more about the MILF framework?
Of course. So I don't know whether it's cringe. To be honest, I built the MILF framework to be a bit of a pattern interrupter
Mm.
because I don't want to be just like any typical AI marketing strategist. I really live and breathe the MILF framework myself. I call myself a MILF. I'm also nearly 40 and I'm in my 40 and building era. So I want to channel that MILF energy and I want it to permeate to everyone that I work with. I feel like everyone needs to be mindful. They need to be intentional. They need to gain leverage and they need to be the founder that they were born to be, in control, confident, capable. None of this overwhelm, noise crap. You are amazing at what you sell and how you serve and what you offer. Let's tap into that. Let's get that out of you. I'm put in front of a lot of owners, I will admit, that break down, that feel inadequate, that go, I can't keep up. I don't know where to start. Like, God, at the moment, you jump on Instagram, there's about 15 different updates every week. It feels like you're being blasted with a fire hose constantly
Mm.
with everything that you need to do. So if we just go back to basics and just channel being a MILF, then all of that is just put behind you and you can show up and be confident, in control, capable,
Mm.
intentional. That's what it's all about. That gives me comfort as well. And I hope it gives comfort to the people that I work with too.
Yeah. Yeah, it just frees up so much mind space. And like, I know, especially for my ideal client who are, coaches, healers, and service providers, we got into this work. We're heart centered people. We got into this work because we love what we do. We're passionate about what we do, and we just want to be in our zone of genius. What I see so
Yes.
much is we go to start a business and we're like, God, I didn't do
Yeah.
this to become wearing 8 hats, a marketer, copywriter, all this stuff, and people hate it. There's so much
Absolutely.
resistance.
Absolutely. And I think when you're a MILF and when you're building like a MILF, you can be kind of everything. You don't have to outsource. You don't have to feel overwhelmed. You can train the tools mindfully, use them with intention, gain leverage from them, and then show up and be a fucking awesome founder. Excuse my French, but that's
I
just
love
how I
sweat.
feel. I feel like you can run through a brick wall for your business because you are so clear and confident about how you show up.
So just to clarify, the digital course you're creating, is that to create a lower ticket offer for people who can't maybe afford, working with you one to one? Obviously to leverage your time as well, but um
Yes. Great question. So I'm building this course because AI is moving so bloody fast, right?
Mm.
And you know, if I jump on Instagram, there are about 100 different creators spitting at me like how to use this, how to use that, don't do this, don't do that.
Mm.
And I follow the ones that resonate with me. So now
Yeah.
I'm doing that for the people that are following me, if you will. I'm trying to do it in a way that explains everything really simply. I hold your hand through the process. I give you everything in sort of real time. So I'm trying to build this course so that every month, if there's something new in the AI world, it's built, to be current and modern.
Yeah.
I don't want to build a course once and forget about it because it's not possible. When we
That's what
talk
I was
about
gonna
the
say. It's
future,
not
that's
not
right.
possible with how fast everything's moving. That would massively do people a disservice.
Absolutely. And when they talk about the future, when the futurists talk about the future, they're talking about 3 months from now. They're not talking about years.
Yeah.
So if you're not across AI, if you think you're better than it, I'm sorry, you're going to be very behind your competitors. Everyone's going to outpace you. I actually think that in 2 years from now, AI is going to be the default for everything that we do. And really, I'm surprised that not more people are training it to their brand and creating a knowledge base. I feel like that should be the default now. But I'm
Mm.
never surprised how many people are still in the prompt executor mode where they're just using it as a glorified search engine and not as a trained employee in their business.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing, especially as I said, I work with and in my space are a lot of coaches, healers, and therapists. And they have a lot of resistance around AI. However, I think if you frame it like you have, in that it's not like replacing you and your essence and your personality. In fact, it's just becoming like a VA, it's just becoming a
Yes.
worker. And it's your responsibility to give it you so that you're not blending in and just being like everyone else.
Absolutely. And, Reese Witherspoon actually just came out and did a post about AI and, women, let's learn AI together. Because she was almost the poster child for like, I don't really know it. Like, is
Oh,
anyone using AI?
okay.
She got absolutely obliterated
Oh,
by
wow.
people. Her audience were like, this isn't it, Reese, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
And then she had to come out and apologize. And when I
oh,
first saw
geez.
that post, I was like, yes, Reese, go girl,
No,
spotlight
she should
AI.
not retract on that. She should not have to
No,
apologize.
I
Yeah.
think there were doomsayers with the .com when the internet came to be. Apparently, the printing press and the radio and the telephone were also innovations that people were poo pooing back in the old days.
Mm.
I forgot who the famous person was. It was a famous figure. He criticized the telephone coming to fruition because he thought that
Oh,
it was going to take women away from their duties in the home. So there's always going to
wow.
be doomsayers and people trying to neg on the latest innovation. I want
Mm.
people to have the mindset shift that AI is going to be the biggest opportunity that our civilization will ever see. And we are so fortunate to have it at
We
our
are so
fingertips.
lucky.
Let's
Yeah.
learn how to use it properly. Let's not just use it as a glorified search engine. Let's
Mm.
train it to our business. Let's get us up and running. I feel like people can print money these days from learning how
Yeah.
to use it
It's so
and then
true.
teaching others because it's so invaluable. It is like helped me show up in more ways than I ever thought possible. And I'm so grateful to AI. I know that makes me sound like a geek, but I
Mm.
absolutely couldn't do what I do with it.
Mm, yeah, it's quite amazing. And yeah, in regards to it's almost like a polarity, right? Because it's like you want to use it, and it's going to help you and it's going to be an assistant and, help, reduce your workload. But you also want to maintain your authenticity and everything.
Yeah.
So it's only if you use it in the right way,
Yes.
that you're able to do that. And I think until people understand that, they will stay in that fear. So it's
That's
all
right.
about education, right?
Absolutely. And, a really low hanging fruit way that you can use AI right now is teach it about your goals. Just
Mm,
jump on a chat, tell it all about your goals, your vision, why you do what you do beyond making a profit. It feels a little bit less like a tool and not like a therapist. I don't want to advocate for using AI in
mm,
placement of therapy. That's not what this is about at all. But it feels more like a friend and a confidant, a hype girl, hype boy, however you
mm.
see AI, if you will. You can absolutely lead from the front in a heart led way. I do see a lot of the tech bros out there being like, blah, 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 AI, this, AI, that. But this is probably why we need more women getting around AI.
Yes, empowered. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
that's right. I want women to feel empowered. It is not that scary. As I said before, there are people out there, not just me, but there are other women who are championing AI and they're doing unbelievably well. And,
Yeah.
they're just regular women like you and me.
Yeah, amazing. And I guess maybe my last question would be there's a lot of fear as well around kind of like the security of like sharing. Like if you're going to go and train it and give it all this deep information about you, your history, your quirks, all that stuff, there seems to be a lot of fear around the security of it. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, look, it's a great question. It comes up a lot. You can actually turn off data controls in the back end. There are buttons that you can toggle off and on that train, like it says something like, Anthropic, for example, for Claude, uses your data to train its models. Like, do you consent? You can actually turn that off. So
Okay.
there are ways. I implore you to go and research that because there are definitely ways, or you can just send me a DM on Instagram or send me an email. I'll be very happy to talk you through it. But yeah, it's as simple as doing that. But really, I wouldn't personally be giving AI any personal details like my address or my
Yeah.
bank details or, my
No.
blood type.
Why would you? Yeah.
That's right. I merely use it for business and I've got no qualms with AI knowing about my goals, my vision, my ideal clients. Like I'm not naming anyone. I'm not giving it anything too
Mm,
personal. Just use everything with caution. I think that's the same can be said with Meta, like with Instagram. You'd be surprised how much Meta knows about you.
exactly right.
So, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I
Just
do wonder whether it kind of comes from a bit of that place of fear. Like, say, for example, someone's thinking, like, oh, if I give it all the nitty gritty about my offers and then it's kind of using that to like train the models, is that going to kind of give other people like my ideas? But the reality is, like you said, you're going to be putting this information out onto your sales pages, out about your offers on Instagram, all that stuff. Like, it's out there anyway. And if
right.
someone's going to steal your stuff, they're going to steal it. That's just reality,
That's
right?
right. That's right. And since what's the expression? Imitation is
That's
the sincerest
exactly my
form of
thought.
flattery anyway. So
100%.
let them.
Yes.
And you know what? When that happens, you'll create something else that makes you undeniable. So
But
you'll move
yeah,
on, you'll evolve. That's
but
just how I see it.
yes, but in saying that, this is what I say to all my clients when this fear does come up. It's like, yeah, cool. Like I literally had a client last week where she told someone about it and they'd literally gone out the next day and put it out there that they're running this, group thing. And I said to her, it doesn't matter. Even if someone's doing the same modality, they've got the same offer, they've copied you, no one is you. No one is
That's
your
right.
unique energy, right? And this comes back to what we were talking about earlier with the authenticity. Like people buy you, they buy your energy, they
Absolutely.
buy your unique quirks. They maybe love the fact that you love dark humor or, whatever. And
Amen.
yeah,
Horses for courses, always. If I looked at everything that all my competitors were doing, I wouldn't leave the house, right?
you get
There's
so
always
overwhelmed.
gonna be someone, doing the same thing. They could be looking at you and thinking, "God damn, like, she's
Hmm.
amazing." Like, they're intimidated by you. But
Yeah.
what you can do is you can actually mute them all on your
Stay in your
Instagram.
lane.
That's right. Stay in your lane, stay focused. Think about the ideal clients that you're serving because you've done a deep dive on them. So you know the psychographic detail and just focus on doing good, not looking good. I
Yeah,
think we
love
get
that.
so caught up in the highlight reel of Instagram and showing people what we
100%.
do, and it's like all fake. And yeah, I just think, stay in your lane, stay focused, go for gold, and don't let yourself stop you because chances are, if you just sit on it for too long, your competitor who is around AI, who does have a growth momentum mindset, they'll just get on and they'll start doing it. And then
Mm,
you will look like the one that's copied them because you've just sat for
mhm.
too long. So,
Yeah,
this is where
that's right.
AI is so powerful. Train it to your business, get it working for you. Don't let it lead you down a garden path. It's meant
Mm.
to be allowing you to lead the charge. So,
I love that. And yeah, a saying that I really love in relation to that is the grass is greener where you water it. So I like
totally.
to use the analogy like if you're looking over your neighbor's fence all the time, like looking at them tending to their garden, what's
That's
happening to
right.
yours while you're spending all that
100.
time? So imagine if you invested all that energy into your own garden, how
Yeah.
flourishing it would be.
Oh my God, Jess, a
Mm.
bloody man. And on the nature chat, I heard another good one yesterday that I
Mm.
used already today with a client. Stop chasing butterflies, build a garden, and they will come. So build an
Mm.
irresistible
Love that.
offer, create really compelling offers, have very, very strong clarity about your brand voice, define it, get up there, get going. The ideal clients will come.
Mm.
100% believe that. You've just got to believe it yourself too and just get a
You've
move
gotta
on.
exactly, and you've gotta believe in you and that, like, you are the one,
That's
because
MILF
people will
energy.
feel that.
That
As
is
I said,
total
people are
MILF
attracted
energy.
to you and your unique energies. Go
Absolutely.
and
Build like a
be
MILF. That's
you.
what I always say.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing. So, just to finish up and tell me where people can find you.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Kitsa Creative. That's Kitsa Creative. Kits is actually a childhood nickname of mine, if anyone was wondering where that came from. And I offer 45-minute clarity calls with clients. So if you'd like to book a call with me, you can via link in bio or at my website, www.kitsacreative.com. I can do a diagnostic of your current AI setup, just find out where you're at, even just in business with the whole clarity piece, and then offer the right tailored program to you. I have 3 programs. They're all amazing and they're tailored to any budget as well. So I'm really all about small business. My whole background has been working in small business marketing. So I get it. I get
Mm,
everything that everybody does and how, we don't always have the big budgets for the big things. But I can assure you, I am what I say that I am. And I just want to help get you unstuck, get you
yeah,
focused, and get you tapping into the whole MILF energy piece.
I love it. Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor to have you on.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you so much for having me.